creepy TikToks that will blow your mind. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go!
Disclaimer: this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research, as these clips haven't been fact-checked.
Alright, check this out, because this confirms the theory about everything that's going on with the world leaders that I've been talking about lately. So if you look at this painting from 1992, it shows these figures who look a lot like the future political figures who are going to be the most prominent in the coming years, like Hillary, Obama, and then Trump as a young boy. But then if you reverse part of the image and you do like an overlay scan of it, you can see that it shifts into an older version of Trump, which this is how he looks like 70 years later. So it's very strange that these people at Bank of America, who, if you run the money supply, you run the world basically, they know what is about to happen. And it's because these people are all friends with each other and they're all time travelers. There's a bunch of different parallel timelines running on at the same time. They're trying to make the best possible outcome for humanity. But many people interpret it as being demonic just because they don't understand the technology.
I don't think they want the best outcome for humanity, though.
Really? Why the Bible said don't wear wool and linen together.
Oh, shit.
Don't wear wool and linen together. If you're going to wear wool or linen and you want another fabric, whether just put cotton with it.
Huh.
Cotton, linen, and wool are the highest frequency fabrics. And anything synthetic or with polyester in it, you start going towards the frequency of a dead body. They did a study looking at frequency. I think it was looking at millihertz. And they looked at the frequency of fabric and how that affects the human when we wear them. And they found that a human body that is dying carries a frequency around 15 hertz. A living human's around 70. And they looked at the frequency of fabrics and they found that linen and wool, 5,000. Cotton, 70. Organic cotton, 100. Polyester, rayon, silk, 15 millihertz.
So you
Silk? Come on, man.
want a high frequency.
You want a high frequency. So the idea is that polyester, rayon, which is a natural fiber made into a fabric. It's not plastic. Rayon's not. And obviously chemicals matter because organic cotton and cotton come in at different frequencies. Of note, don't go putting linen and wool together. Linen and wool go at opposite frequencies, and so they're both at 5,000. If you put them together, they cancel each other out.
Like I remember even tapping into bank accounts and everything off my Social Security, and I remember it was 6 accounts in my name. And I called didn't I call the Federal Reserve? I called the Federal Reserve Bank. I'm like, why do I got an account with $6 million in it that I've never opened myself? How did you get access to your account? That's when they really started messing with us. That's not the question. Why do I got an account with $6 million? Why do I got a bank account with a Bank of America account with $20 million in it, and I never had a Bank of America account? Who the hell is using the money? Then you start tracking down your Social Security number, putting a 0 in front of it, which makes it a 10-digit bank account number. Then you look at your birth certificate number, which is your routing number. So now you're like, hold on, I got a bank with all this money. And then you start realizing what Social Security is. And then basically you working for free, and then they're paying you little bitty percentages or fractions out of the account that you already had all this money built in, because you're a natural born law-abiding citizen of the Creator and not of man. So it's different types of tiers you operate on. You can operate as an indigenous in the private, as your natural born body self, or you can operate as a corporation, which is the name your mother and father gave you right before they sold you over and got a Social Security number, and then sold your soul by taking the sole of your feet, putting it under some stamps, and then putting it on top of the birth certificate and selling you over to the corporation that we call the United States of America, which is not a country, it's a business, it's a corporation and an agent.
Wow.
So why isn't anybody talking about the Sea of Galilee turning red? So Israel Water Authority explained that the red coloration is due to the accumulation natural pigment secreted by the strong algae in response to strong sun exposure. Now they gave a statement on Monday and stated that the pigment was non-toxic. But in the Bible, which sea turns red? You guessed it, the Sea of Galilee. Now in Revelation 16-1, the first angel went out and poured out his water on the land. And ugly and pain sores broke out on the people who had the mark of the beast and worshipped his image. Now the second angel poured out his bowl on the sea, which it turned into blood, like that of a dead man. And every living thing in the sea died. Now the biblical sea is actually a freshwater lake in northern Israel. and the waters turning red hearken to the Old Testament account of the water of the Nile River. The red rivers of the Nile is one of the plagues that God brought to Egypt to convince the Pharaoh to free enslaved Israels, which is according to the book of Exodus. Are these the last days coming? Do we believe Israel Water Authority, or do we believe the Bible?
Yeah, man, he is coming sooner than we think.
Stephen Black died and found himself in the afterlife. Listen closely what he says, what he experienced. And at the end of this video, I'm gonna share you a few facts about afterlife experiences. Check this out.
I remember waking up on that Saturday morning and it felt like I was shifting in and out of my body. It was the weirdest sensation. I was dying. I didn't know I was dying at the moment. And actually, I wasn't in pain. It was an interesting feeling dying. And so then the paramedics get there, the ambulance comes, but while they were moving me from the house into the ambulance, wow, this glory bubble surrounded me. And I didn't exactly know all what I now know about it at the moment, but I felt so comfortable in this light, like liquid electric love in a ball surrounded me, and I was in light. This really happened. I was still very cognizant. I remember inside the bubble, like my whole life passed before me. It wasn't a life review. I just remember across the inside of the bubble, my whole life passed before me. And then as I was looking outside the bubble, I could see everything from the point of eternity, and the whole world was in a state of entropy.
You have to know, we have million cases like this where people clinically die, go to the afterlife and come back. And these experiences are even verified by studies that have been made, for example, from Jeffrey Long. That being said, it's so important to give your life to Jesus Christ because eternity is really, really long. It's infinite and you want to be with God in heaven.
Earth was already invaded. I don't care what y'all think. Earth was already invaded. Because just think about it. Living in the city, having a big society is not normal. Living in tall buildings wasn't normal. Living in suburbs wasn't normal. Having a tribe, that is normal. Because that's been going on throughout human history. But when you think about it, who the fuck thought about building a big ass city? Who tortoised that? Throughout human history, we always lived in small communities and tribes and clans. And then all of a sudden, we wanted to make big expansions, big cities. So it was even invaded by aliens or fallen angels, which in hindsight, they're the same. Because fallen angels ain't nothing but demons. And aliens ain't nothing but demons.
Yep.
And
I agree.
Fallen angels was the ones who taught mankind technology, especially how to turn metal into weaponry. So when you really grasp it, we already was invaded. People like to say that we're going to get invaded sooner or later, but Earth was already invaded. We were invaded by the damn angels. Make sure y'all follow me on YouTube for my long form content at Nyrome Lynch. I'll see y'all there.
All right, my brother.
There's people out in the lands that we live in that will actually take you and eat you.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I'm going to form it in a way that you'll be afraid of them as you should. Yeah. And that I'm not going to scar you too much about regular people.
Yeah.
Because not everybody's like this.
Yeah, that's true. That's crazy.
What's happening with these elites? Is it at all possible that our beloved traditions of fairy tales about wolves, witches, and vampires hunting, eating, and drinking the blood of virgins and Christians in forests, lodges and castles, mostly emerging in European heartlands, are actually twisted survivor witness accounts from our deep past? All of these different fairy tales, stories of these big bad wolf taking a evil witch taking what does the witch do to Hansel and Gretel? Tries to eat them. What if these fairy tales and stories aren't just fairy tales and stories? These are deep rooted stories of going missing and the people that have done sick things
that actually happened.
They're treated in a way for us to tell our kids in a storybook form so that we wouldn't scare them too much.
Oh my goodness.
Think about how many different fairy tales it's spun into ridiculous caricatures to discredit them and are seeded widely so that similar future testimonies will sound like fairy tales, just to make it sound like, oh, this isn't real.
Yeah.
Like this is just fairy tales and shit.
Yeah.
But no, this actually happened.
All in our face, fam. All in our
Yeah,
face.
dead ass.
Since the beginning. Like, yeah, we were innocent. I'm not even thinking
I know,
about
we're not
I'm not
thinking
even
about
You're not thinking about that. So.
Yeah, man, there is so much truth hidden in children's TV and films.
First time I was raped, I was 6. The first time I was sold, I was 11. After that first experience of being sold, he kind of gave me a hug and he said, "You're going to make me so much money."
What?
And I didn't know what that meant. I just kind of went back over to my grandparents' house. And then he invited me over a different day. They had a camera set up and basically him and his friend, essentially gang raped me, for probably an hour, and filmed the whole thing. And, the fact that there is video out there somewhere, of me and being raped, and I don't know how that's been cut and edited to look and appear a certain way. The thing that went through my mind was, are people going to see this? Is my family going to see this? And the people I care about the most, it always felt like a possibility in the back of my mind. Anytime I was over at that guy's house being raped, I could literally look out the window and see my grandmother's house and how close I was to being safe, and would always hope that somebody would come looking for me. And they just never did, because I don't think anyone fathomed something like that happening literally right next door or within your own family. Customer was brought into the room. I would be shown photography, and being that young, I think it translated for me, as an overall thing, as a woman, this is what men expect from you, and this is what people want from you. That went on for about 2 or 3 years and just kind of ended because I hit puberty. And it was actually the last summer of it happening was the most violent, because a lot of the men were a pedophile clientele. It was a whole nother level to experience rejection from people that were abusing me.
I'm sorry to hear that, but it must take a lot of courage to speak out.
This video is for entertainment purposes only. Here's something to think about. David Paulides' book, right? And it's terrifying because he talks about people that go missing in national parks. And you know what? It's not being reported. It's not only here, it's up in Canada. Thousands of people go missing and they're never found. What are we looking at? What is really going on? In my opinion, this is something very supernatural and also very nefarious. People have reported seeing mutilated human beings on UFOs. Just saying. Now, I'm not saying that, but I'm reporting what other people have stated on the record. In our film on counter mutilations, Chuck Zukowski talks about a case up in Canada where the car was parked on the side of the road. There was a woman slouched over. She was obviously deceased. When the coroner came and opened the door, they discovered that her entire chest was completely cored out, just like the cattle. This is not for the faint of heart. The supernatural world is real. I am L.A. Marzulli.
Please be safe out there, folks.
So humans traveled to an unknown planet called Serpo to learn from aliens.
Yeah, 12 people.
And they kept it hidden?
Oh yeah, it was a classified mission by the U.S. government. In 1965,
Dimensional travel?
12 American soldiers boarded an alien spacecraft and left Earth on a 10-month journey to Serpo, a planet in the Zeta Reticuli star system.
A whole new world.
Yes. Serpo was different, to say the least. These beings, the Ebens, they were called, were humanoid in shape, but not quite like us. Larger eyes, and get this, they used telepathy for communication. The humans didn't go there for just tourism. They went to study, to dive deep into Eben technology, their advanced spacecraft, and even their medical techniques. You see, these Ebens had tech that could change everything back here on Earth. Imagine learning propulsion systems, energy sources we can't even dream of, and medical knowledge that could rewrite our science books.
And you said they spent 13 years.
Exactly. They spent 13 years on Serpo, observing, analyzing, and absorbing Eben knowledge. Their aircraft alone. Imagine something that could jump between star systems without a hitch.
Ooh.
And their energy technology, clean,
Wow.
limitless, far beyond anything we have. And get this, the Ebens could even heal in ways that seem like magic to us. They shared it all. But out of the 12, only 8 returned. 2 died on Serpo, and 2 chose to stay behind.
CERN, though, it's very strange because they have this statue in front of outside of their facility called Shiva. Has all these arms.
Yeah,
and,
Shiva.
Oh, like Mortal Kombat Shiva?
Exactly.
Shiva, like the goddess Shiva. Yes.
So they have this video in front of Shiva where you have these guys in hoods and have these like torches and they're like doing a ritual.
Yeah.
And it was a secretly recorded thing. And they say, oh, it was a hoax. We're just playing but how is it a hoax if you didn't know you were being recorded?
Right.
It was very strange. And they're like doing all this shit. It was weird.
Nothing's a hoax.
Got caught.
I mean,
I'm like, ain't no way. So scientists that spend millions of dollars on research, we're going to go out there and do a ritual. Okay.
They always do that shit.
They try to make it seem like, oh, it's a hoax. No, it just is what it is.
And people were saying that since that portal has been open from CERN, they're saying that demons are coming through.
Right in our faces.
So they said that they're building a device trying to reach all the way down to the bottom of the ocean. Parts that never been discovered, trying to find things and life forms that we never discovered before. Didn't God already say that parts of the earth wasn't supposed to be explored? There's certain things that we're not supposed to know. That's why he hinder us from doing certain things. And when you really think about it, it's true because they said that only 5% of the ocean was only discovered. 5%. That's it. Meaning the whole other 95% we know nothing about. So how are they sitting here trying to debate the deepest part of the ocean when we only discovered only 5% of it? We don't know what's in the other 95%. It can be way bigger than we think it is. And this is the problem with mankind. We think we can just explore and do whatever we want, but we can't. And God already taught us a lesson way back then with the Tower of Babel, when we built towers trying to reach God, and he said otherwise. So I think this is a lesson for all of us, because if we keep exploring, if we keep trying to do stuff, knowing damn well we're not supposed to, going to the bottom of the ocean where the pressure is so strong, it will crush you instantly, then I think it's going to be catastrophic, not just for the people who's doing it, but for all mankind. Because God is going to feel like we think we gods. And now he got to teach us another lesson. Make sure y'all follow me on YouTube for my long form content at Nyrome Lynch. I'll see y'all there. Peace.
So you're telling me that nobody sees anything wrong with the fact that the media has been very dismissive and very little coverage of the missing scientists and even the ones that have popped up dead. And why do I say that? Because another name has just been added to the list, not on the missing side, but on the DOA side. And the latest name to be added? This scientist right here, David Wilcock. And yes, this is the same David Wilcock from the show Ancient Aliens. He's also a UFO researcher. And the claim is that this individual has passed away at the age of 53. And keep this in the back of your mind. There are 11 other individuals that either did the same thing he did or something similar to it. But the one thing they all have in common is they're either missing or they're dead. So the question that needs to be asked is, what is going on? Have a listen to him in his own words just a couple of days ago.
Every day that I have on earth is a gift and a blessing, and I'm very grateful for that because, frankly, people are disappearing. Scientists are going missing. Now they're saying they're going to investigate this. The president himself is saying they're going to look into this and see if anything's going on. It's a little bit scary.
And those are in his own words. Fast forward to today. Authorities get a 911 call. They show up at this man's house and they find his body. And also in that video, he sounds a lot like an individual that's more concerned about the safety of his own life rather than an individual talking as if he was going to take his own. And once again, this is the type of stuff he was studying. And if you go back and play the video, he was talking about how people are disappearing, people are missing, and the president is going to investigate this. But one thing you should take note of in that message, what he said, it's very scary. Let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comments. And as always, I'd love to hear from you.
David mentioned he was being cyberbullied right before he's dead.
What's a historical fact that as soon as you found out completely shocked you? You guys are not ready for what I'm about to tell you.
Person says, James Jameson, if you know, you know. You guys wanted a part 2 of this series so bad. Trust me, you're listen. So y'all know Jameson whiskey, right? The grandson of the man that founded Jameson whiskey, James Jameson, he was super rich. He decided to travel. He traveled to Africa along the Congo River, and apparently, according to his translator, friends of his, the person he traveled with, he was obsessed with cannibalism, right? So he found out that there were some tribes there that still practice that. He goes and he pays somebody 6 or 8 handkerchiefs to basically take a 10-year-old girl and a slave girl and present her to the locals of that tribe that did practice that disgusting act. And he wrote about it and sketched it in his journal and also made a watercolor painting of them literally jabbing her in the stomach or the heart. It's different. Each person or each account says different on that one. After that, they started to literally rip her limb from limb and run to go wash off her limbs or start cooking it until finally she was completely, I gotta be careful what I say. I don't want this video to be taken down. But yes, he sketched all that. And then he also consumed her flesh. You can read it right here. I'm going to put the excerpt right there. Finally, he actually didn't make it back from his travels. He unalived from fever. He might have got Kuru. If you guys know anything about Kuru, it is a cannibal disease. It was actually most seen in the people of New Guinea, the Fore people. They had a tradition where the women and children of the tribe would eat the brains of their deceased loved one, and you get Kuru from doing that, and you can only get that from consuming the brains of someone who had Kuru. It could even lay dormant up to 10 years. You get symptoms like fever, maniacal laughter, incontinence, dementia, and then they would lose the ability to swallow. So some people unalive from malnutrition. Yeah, it's crazy. And did you guys know that the last known case of Kuru was in 2010? 2010. You heard me. So anyway, I'm not going to go off on a tangent. You literally don't even know. You don't even know who's sitting next to you on the bus. That person could have Kuru. Anyway, this was about James Jameson. Did you guys know that about the grandson of the founder of Jameson whiskey? As always, make sure you guys like and follow. Comment down below if you guys knew this, what you think, if I should keep the series going.
Disturbing. Y'all aren't ready for this one. Exodus took place in America, and the true Nile is the Mississippi River. Moses was born here and was buried in Utah. Pay attention to this one, because I'm going to be showing you how much of the Old Testament actually took place here in the Americas. When Moses split the Red Sea, he was leading the Israelites into California. For centuries, California was depicted as an island in all the older maps, even labeled with having a Red Sea. So if cartographers of the past were really mistaken, why do so many maps have this exact same mistake with such detail? Now by the 1770s, California begins to look like what it does today, but can't go back to its natural state due to so many dams and levees holding it together. There are over 1,500 dams in California alone, literally holding back an entire sea. Now, the Mississippi River is the true Nile. The Nile, the fake Egypt, does not match the description in Isaiah 11:15. It said the Lord smite the river into 7 streams. But the Nile we're given in Africa only has 2 major tributaries. And what is the largest river complex in America? The Mississippi. It's the only major river on Earth that matches the description with 7 massive streams. There's also many Egyptian named cities across the Mississippi, and these are just the ones alongside the river, not considering the rest of the country. Now let's read about the death of Moses in Deuteronomy 34, which shows us his final journey and burial being in Utah, or Judah. All the locations mentioned are found here. This one puts the nail in the coffin. Then Moses went to the plains of Moab, onto the top of Mount Nebo. So a 70-hour walk from Moab to Mount Nebo. Okay, to the top of Pisgah. Pisgah, Utah, that is over against Jericho. Boom, Jericho, Utah, right across Mount Pisgah. And if you're not mind blown yet, you need to drink some wake up juice. But hold on, we still got more places to verify. And then the Lord showed him the whole land from Gilead onto Dan. Gilead, Utah to Dan or Daniel, Utah. Same thing. All these places are in the same vicinity to Mount Nebo. All of Naphtali or Nephi, Utah, as in Naphtali being one of the tribes of Israel. The territory of Ephraim, right here. And now you won't find a Manasseh, Utah on the map, but there's a reason for that. The town no longer exists. It didn't survive. But there was a Manasseh in Utah. Give it a quick search and you'll see Manasseh is said to have existed right next to Ephraim. And what do we know about these two tribes? They were brothers. So of course they'd be right next to each other. Remember, it says Moses could see the whole land of Judah, or the whole land of Utah, from the top of Mount Nebo. This is what it looks like 12,000 feet high. And sure enough, you can see all these sites from this mountain. Now let's take a look at their little fake hill, Mount Nebo, in Israel, Palestine, which is only 2,000 feet. And it's not even a mountain. It's labeled a ridge, a hill. So why are you calling a ridge a mountain? You mean to tell me Moses could see the whole promised land from this little hill? It doesn't come close. That is a real mountain. There's also many more biblically named locations throughout Utah. Moses Rock. They told you Mormons named these places, but that's the cover story. That's the hijack. Mormons just knew they were setting up in the ancient lands, and they even talk about Indian tribes being descendants of the Hebrews. And while I'm not saying they are, it could explain all these ancient Hebrew artifacts that have been found throughout the U.S. Many of these tribes were at least in connection with the Israelites. And once you start to compare not only their cultural similarities, the artifacts, or even the linguistic similarities between the Native American languages and the Hebrew tongues, you will find a mountain of evidence. But that's a story for another time. America is the true promised land. And you know there's a spell cast when people can't see what's right in front of them.
This is outrageous. Man, you are spreading false information.
David Rene de Rothschild is currently married to Olympia Anna Aldobrandini of the Aldobrandini dynasty, one of many papal bloodlines. The Aldobrandinis produced Pope Clement VIII, along with around 7 cardinals. Unlike the Rothschilds, who didn't gain any sort of wealth or influence until the late 18th century, the Aldobrandini, supposedly of Florentine origin, though there is speculation they're actually Persian, have been a key family in the ruling class since the 14th century, where they've been intermarrying with other papal nobility families, such as the Farnese. When Margherita Aldobrandini married Ranuccio Farnese, the Duke of Parma, and the Borghese family, with the 17th century marriage between Olympia Aldobrandini and Prince Paolo Borghese. The Rothschilds are just a lower level bloodline serving the aims of the papal nobility. It's Jesuit order, as well as their knights, such as the Knights of Malta or the Order of Pius IX. Here's a portrait of Meyer Amschel Rothschild wearing what appears to be a Maltese cross, the symbol for the Knights of Malta. Take that as you want. I'm not going to speculate on a painting. What we can look at is Karl Mayer von Rothschild, the founder of the Neapolitan branch of the family, was granted the ribbon and star of the Sacred Military Constantinian Order of St. George. This was during a meeting with Pope Gregory XVI. I'm getting really good at reading Roman numerals now. This Order of St. George is another military Catholic order, like the few I just previously mentioned, this one specifically with ties to the Bourbon Two Sicilies family. Other men to receive this honor were Philip VI, the current King of Spain, Juan Carlos I, the former King of Spain, Franz Joseph I, the former Emperor of Austria-Hungary. He was a member of the Habsburg dynasty as well, which will come up a little more soon, as well as Alexander Haig, who served as the former U.S. Secretary of State under Reagan. Reagan was a Knight of the Order of Saints Maurice and Lazarus, J.P. Morgan as well. This order serves the House of Savoy. But as I was saying, Haig was also a White House Chief of Staff under Nixon and Ford, and National Security Advisor of the U.S. under Nixon. Other National Security Advisors of the U.S., like Zbigniew Brzezinski, the co-founder of the Trilateral Commission, was a Knight of Malta. Solomon Mayer von Rothschild, the second son of Meyer Amschel Rothschild, was the founder of the Vienna branch, working closely with the Habsburg dynasty. In 1822, on September 29th, Solomon, as well as his 4 brothers, were all made court barons by the former Holy Roman Emperor Francis II. At the time, he was the Emperor of Austria as Francis I. The Habsburg family claims direct descent from the emperors of the ancient Roman Empire. Otto von Habsburg played a key role in the founding of Le Cercle. I have another video about them on my page, or about the Habsburgs specifically. And Karl von Habsburg currently leads the Austrian branch of another Catholic military knighthood, the Order of the Golden Fleece. In 1855, Emperor Franz Joseph I knighted James Rothschild into the Order of the Iron Crown. Another example, this is another Habsburg knighthood, another example of the Rothschilds being subservient to the Habsburg dynasty and the overall papal nobility, who have held power far longer than the public ruling class most people look at today. The Habsburgs, I don't believe they ever actually produced a pope, however they were aligned with the papacy as consistent emperors of the Holy Roman Empire.
Rothschilds funded both sides of wars. They also funded the creation of Easy.
No way.
What is that?
What?
We grew these. We grew them in our science lab. Oh, they're so pretty. They're so cute, aren't they? You have a name for this? I haven't come up with one yet. I didn't. That didn't occur to me. Yeah, it's your name. Okay. Well, I'll credit you for inventing the name.
Wow. Did Rick Owens just say that he grew those in his science lab? I never knew that Rick Owens has a science lab and he's growing fingernails or ears. Something's going on with Rick Owens, bro. First of all, who's Bernardo? Huh? Who is Bernardo? And why is he growing things in his lab? Little fingers that grow out of the ear with fingernails. This is what Rick Owens just said. Now, I don't know why he would say that. Maybe he's joking around. But besides that, guys, what's up with his neck? It looks different from my neck, right? Mm-hmm. People are saying that doesn't look like a Adam's apple, that it looks like a bag of apples. Something's going on here, guys. But of course, entertainment purposes only. You guys just be saying anything. Rick Owens is a legend. He's a good guy. All right, guys? Let me know what you think about him and his science lab that we know nothing about. I'm out.
His wife is the gatekeeper of Hollywood.
Was the founder of Jehovah's Witness a Zionist supporter?
Yes, Charles Taze Russell, the founder of the Bible student movement, which later became Jehovah's Witnesses, was an early proponent of Christian Zionism.
That's the dude's tomb, okay? That eyeball-looking thing, that's the headquarters in Denmark.
Wow.
That's literally Jehovah's Witness Denmark. That is literally the satanic eye at the top of the pyramid, which
yes.
represents the pyramid. For those that don't know, that's the Tower of Babel. Just so you guys know, the pyramid is the Tower of Babel, the unfinished pyramid on your dollar bill where the top doesn't come down. So that unfinished part on the Tower of Babel, that's the incomplete form right there, the incomplete form of the Tower of Babel. So Jehovah's Witness is that. See how the top of that top stone on that grave, it actually comes down as well. Wherever you see a pyramid, that means human sacrifice. That means they were killing people.
If you enjoyed this short clip, please be sure to watch the whole episode, which can be found right here. So click right here, right now, and watch the entire episode. And I promise you, you will not be disappointed.
Hillary and Bill denying that they were ever on the Epstein files.
Get the fuck out of here.
Get the fuck out of my face with that shit, bro.
She says she doesn't know Epstein. Ghislaine Maxwell was at your daughter's wedding.
Oh, but she said she was a +1. They were asked her, she was like, Ghislaine went to your daughter's wedding. Like, how did she get to the wedding?
How did she get
She was a +1. And then she walked off.
She came as the +1, the guest of someone who was invited.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you all.
She ran after that question. It's like, bro, you're so disrespectful to the public's intelligence. It's crazy.
She's a liar.
What else is she gonna say? Damn it.
You can't say anything.
Fuck. +1? Yeah, fuck it. Run with that. But you gotta run after you say that.
Wait, wasn't Bill in a dress?
Man, Bill came out and said, I didn't know what kind of man he was. If I would have known that, I would have took him down. Bro.
How are you gonna take him down? You're in the jacuzzi
trying to get taken down.
Yeah,
like God knows who.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like.
Or what?
Why is that painting in Epstein's crib with him in a dress and red heels?
Oh, God. Why were you at the Epstein Island 34 times?
34
on record. Because other times you could have went through submarine. Ghislaine had a fucking submarine license.
Yeah.
So you could have. That's just on record.
And here's the thing too. You just gotta look at the evidence, right? Virginia Shoephrase is dead. She's one of the lead people that was an Epstein victim. She gets hit by a bus, survives, and then she unalives herself. And she's one of the main victims, and she's not here anymore.
She got hit by a bus and survived.
Yes, this happened last year.
She was a real victim.
She knew that this stuff was gonna come out, and she had all this information. She'd been saying it for years. She gets hit by a bus, bro. Survives, and then unalives herself. Why would you do that after you got hit by a bus?
I survived. I did all of this.
Yeah, I'm gonna end it all. How?
Why?
The fact that Bill and Hillary are saying that they don't know anything is just like
the gaslighting to the 10th power.
Y'all are sick people, man.
Yeah, you just spitting it in our face and calling it rain.
I'm sorry, Bill can't say shit. You were in a dress, my guy.
Here's the part about documentation. It doesn't change. The fact that Epstein donated $25,000 to the Clinton Foundation and you don't know him, that's on record.
Come on, man.
Yeah,
It's
lock
sick.
him up, bro.
It's honestly sick.
Yeah, lock these people up because like I'm sick of this shit.
She was pissed when they asked about frazzled drip.
Interested in knowing how they made the Barabar caves. I think that's maybe even more fascinating than pyramids. So they carved a cave inside this rock chart that's like a mirror finish. You can see yourself.
Whoa!
Look how shiny the walls are.
It's got to be aliens.
Well, it definitely doesn't look like I was chiseled.
That is insane. Look how perfect that text is.
Well, text. Never mind text. How perfect the walls are. Consistent angles. Consistent curvature.
230 BC this was carved out?
That's the inscription.
The inscription was 230 BC, which means the cave's much older.
Probably, yeah.
The builders left a message of who they were.
Lost world has been discovered under a mile of ice in Antarctica. So ever since I learned about this, right, I'm just like, I don't understand it. What organisms live there? What creatures live there? How is the water? What is the land like? What are the trees like? What are the plants like, right? I was reading the second book of Enoch, or Enoch 2, whatever y'all want to call it. I'm going to just show y'all what I seen. From there, I traveled to the very center of the earth, where I beheld a blessed land filled with trees and flowing springs. In that place, I saw a sacred mountain, and beneath it, from the east, a stream emerged. This right here is about up there. From there, I traveled to the very center of the earth, where I beheld a blessed land filled with trees and flowing springs. As y'all can see, I went from 26 to 35. Because I'll be reading. From there, I continued my journey westward, reaching the outermost edges of the earth. Edges, you say? What the fuck sphere do y'all know got an edge? If I saw the earth as a ball, I would never say edge of it. The sphere don't have an end, so why do they say the ends of the earth? If I sound like I'm just reaching, bro, y'all let me know, bro, because shit. I didn't write this shit.
Never understood when they said 4 corners of the earth.
Discovered the Titanic. I was not allowed to tell the true story because actually I served in naval intelligence for 30 years.
The Titanic was really a cover for a highly classified military operation to investigate 2 nuclear submarines that we lost during the Cold War with all hands.
When Robert Ballard found the Titanic, the world hailed him for closing one of history's greatest mysteries, with an iceberg as the final culprit. But what his cameras recorded wasn't the end of the story. It was the beginning of a horrifying case. Upon closer analysis, far from the impact gash, a section of the steel hull was warped and buckled, as if it had been superheated by an invisible fire from within. Was the iceberg not the sole perpetrator, but merely the executioner of a preordained death sentence? What is the evidence for this? And what is the truth that Ballard feels compelled to confess before it's too late? The story everyone believed. In the year 1912, the world looked at a new ship called the Titanic, and people believed it was the greatest ship ever built by human hands. It was enormous, beautiful, and filled with the most advanced technology of its time. So people everywhere said that this ship was unsinkable, which meant they truly believed it could never, ever sink to the bottom of the ocean. This was the powerful idea that everyone shared, a symbol of human progress that seemed to promise a future without failure. The story of what happened next is one that almost everyone on Earth has heard at least once. On the night of April 14th, while the ship was on its very first journey across the vast and dark North Atlantic Ocean, it struck a giant piece of ice, a massive iceberg that was floating silently in the calm water. Within just a few hours, the unsinkable ship did the one thing people thought was impossible. It broke apart and disappeared beneath the freezing waves, taking more than 1,500 people with it. After this terrible event, governments in America and Britain held formal investigations, called official inquiries, where they asked the people who survived exactly what they saw and heard. Based on the words of these survivors, the world was given one single, clear story. A story that became the official truth for the next 73 years. This official story stated that the iceberg was the only cause, a tragic accident where nature defeated the best technology that humans could create. This narrative was written into history books, taught in schools, and accepted by everyone as the final answer. But there was always a huge problem with this official story. A problem that no one could solve for a very...
Okay. Got this.
Man, that earthquake in Russia has stirred up some stuff in the ocean. Please tell me you've seen this video of these mermaids off the coast of Chile. So a woman was filming what she thought was a pod of dolphins. And there are some dolphins mixed into this, but watch the things that are swimming in this water. While some of them are dolphins, there are what looks like human beings, or what a lot of people are saying are actually mermaids. Now, some of them are kind of hard to see or identify, but there is one specific one that comes up out of the water right here that is very humanoid. Just watch, right there. Yeah. That's not a dolphin. That is for sure a human. Now, that one guy from Florida did say he got kidnapped by dolphins, so maybe that's what's happening here. The biggest question here is, why would humans be swimming with all these different sea creatures? With no gear, nothing, it's not like they're divers or anything like that. What do you guys think? Do you think that this is a mermaid? Or what do you think this is?
Man, can't trust anything these days.
So in 1998, a movie came out called Snake Eyes with Nicolas Cage, where in it, a politician named Charles Kirkland was shot in the neck and assassinated September 10th. Now, in real life, Charlie Kirk was shot in the neck on September 10th. Sometimes I feel like I'm taking crazy pills, but what do you call that?
The whole world is a stage.
Mentioned that Templars went into the tomb to recover the bones of their ancestors, keep them safe. But when you're going back, to 0 or around the time when Yeshua,
First century,
would they have considered themselves Templars or just part of a long strand of kind of, Gnosticoi, Telestide, part of this mystery school tradition that included the Druidic traditions and a variety of other places?
they understood who they were. Of course they did. They were carrying on a tradition that's ancient. They did not call themselves the Templars during the First Crusade. They called themselves the Poor Knights of Christ. But it wasn't long after that they became the Knights Templars. So the answer to the question is yes.
Okay. So we already see how this map tells us where in the future, basically Russia and the United States, North America, are the most stable parts of the world with the most resources. And therefore, they are the most resilient, the most stable, okay? But if you go to Africa, Europe, Middle East, Southeast Asia, these are points of conflict in the world. So we can expect these places to become much more unstable over time. So in other words, all the United States and Russia have to do is maintain stability and then export resources to these places.
One of the military officers in Brazil, when he grabbed this creature and put it in the vehicle, it scratched him and he died from a bacterial infection that was never before seen.
God.
And now these doctors are coming forward telling the story. Have y'all heard about this? That's what's really going on in the world.
Damn.
In Varginha, Brazil.
Virginia, yeah.
Creatures came there. They stole gold from people. They stole titanium from people. One of them got trapped and was left there. They documented the saucer ship flying, looking for him for 6 hours. Couldn't find him.
There's an ocean under the ocean. There's literally a mega ocean under our ocean. Like, our ocean is just the top layer of the water under the ocean. The Earth literally has a hidden water reservoir. And y'all understand why when I talk about the oceans and I talk about sirens and I talk about the things in the ocean, that there's no length to how far my mind can go when it comes to the ocean. And this is the reason, like, when I was swimming in the ocean the last time I went to the beach, I had this crazy unsettling feeling. You know that feeling when you kind of know things about something now? Like, you know a place is dangerous, so you can't really enjoy it as much anymore. I think the ocean is beautiful. I've always been called to the ocean. I love water. It brings me peace. But now knowing what's going on in there, not even truly knowing, when I put my head, which I don't do anymore, but when I put my head under the water in the ocean, instead of being scared of sharks, like, I get this really
mermaid,
this unsettling feeling like there's something watching me. Like, my heart starts to race so much because there's just so much that is possible. Especially with me finding out that there's a mega ocean under the ocean. Guys, just for a second, I want you to think about how many bodies are in the sea. Just think transatlantic slave trade. Just that. Think about how many enslaved individuals chose the sea. There's literally like a whole monument dedicated to those that chose the sea to keep their dignity instead of becoming slaves. Like, just imagine when you're out in the ocean, how many, and especially because water holds memory and it is recycled. Like, there's never going to be new water on this earth. It's all the same water being recycled over and over. So the flood, like the flood of Noah, that same water is the water that we go and swim in when we're in the ocean. Like, just let that sink in. And also let something else sink in. When the flood happened, right? All the land animals, they died. The people even, they died. But the things of the sea are still here to this day. Whatever was in the ocean at that time, all those years ago, could still be lurking under the deep. Did y'all hear about those prehistoric rivers that they found under the ice in Antarctica? Because the ice is melting, and they're finding hidden rivers miles and miles and miles long. Scientists have said that there could be a whole entire ecosystem of creatures that we have never before seen.
Yup.
Yeah. I'm gonna stay on land. I don't want my fish legs. I'll keep my land legs. As always, y'all, make sure you like and follow and comment down below what you think.
So somebody got good footage of the clouds flowing over the mountaintops. I want y'all to pay attention to this light right here. Cause maybe UFOs could be fallen angels, because this UFO that you're about to see is exactly how the Bible describes how angels look. I want y'all to pay attention to this, because you're about to witness something very strange. Look at this. Now, you can't tell me that doesn't look scary. Look at that. Right in the clouds. Now, I'm going to show y'all again in slow motion exactly what you just witnessed. Now, it's a chance that UFOs could be fallen angels if you look at this video. Now, y'all tell me what y'all think about this, because this right here blew my mind.
Imagine you're in New York, you're sitting in your car, minding your own business, when suddenly this person or this something walks up to your car window and asks to use your phone. Now, first people are going to say, it's just drugs. But is it really? Do we need to question these situations a lot more and really look at them for what they are? Or is this conditioning? Maybe getting used to seeing such weird things, such odd things, and shrug them off as drugs. Take a look at this. Comment below. Tell me what you think.
Man, I'm gonna start my car right away. Can I use your phone to
call someone?
Yeah, sure. There you go.
Can I use your phone to call someone?
Man, yeah, you gotta drop like that? No thanks.
Late 1600s, Russian depiction of the Assumption of Mary, the Mother of Christ, by Kirill Yulanov at Fili in Moscow. In Russia, this is what they drew of Mary and her baby. In Russia, right now, when we see majority white folks, somebody said, I need to draw Jesus' mama and him and all the black ass angels, and I'm drawing it tonight. Why do Russia got all the evidence of Jesus being black and they just now saying, all right, fuck, fine. Y'all are the ones and we stole it. Why would it get mad just because somebody want to try to be like y'all? Somebody can be like y'all. But yeah, this supposed to be Mary and Jesus and all them niggas. Look at all these niggas. Niggas is all over. All the niggas like, hey, I'm black. And they sitting up telling us that all those angels right there with the little wings, little white kids flying around like, hey, guess what? I'm also Cupid, probably. I don't know. What really got me was somebody white drew this. I don't know nobody named Kirill Yulanov. That's a nigga. Especially in the 1600s.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
It sounds
I feel like
Russian
this
to
may
me.
be the truth, y'all. Man, I'm tired of getting flabbergasted with this shit. I'm not finna keep talking to you motherfuckers that keep saying, oh, y'all want to praise that white Jesus. Jesus was never white. They made him white. And now you got an issue with him because somebody else told you a lie about him. This nigga was a nigga, and he still is a nigga too. And I think everybody up there is a nigga as well.
Wait, hold up. You mean to tell me that we're still paying taxes and the federal workers aren't even paying taxes themselves? So the reports say 149,000 federal employees owe 1.5 billion in unpaid taxes.
That's not fair.
And this is just for the fiscal year of 2021. Now, this isn't a new report. This comes from a couple of years ago, but we just glossed over this, right? And mind you, almost 6,000 of those employees are IRS agents themselves who owe 50 million in unpaid taxes as well. Gets wilder though, because since 2020, the IRS has spent at least $10 million on guns and ammo for its 2,100 special agents. Why? In addition to 4,500 guns, 5 million rounds, 539 long barrel rifles, 15 machine guns that's already in stock at the agency. What are they getting prepared for? I mean, could it be that they're getting ready for some type of uprising or revolution regarding taxes? Now, this is uncovered by Senator Joni Ernest, who presented a bill saying federal workers need to get audited every year, and if they fail, then they get fired. Now, as taxes ramp up, the billionaires are making their move, including Zuckerberg, who is going from California to Florida. Now, he's doing this to avoid the 2026 Billionaire Tax Act, which is a one-time 5% wealth tax fee. Okay, you guys, let's really think about this for a minute. You go to the store, you have sales tax. Some states, you have state income tax. Then you have federal tax. Then you go to the gas pump, you have gas tax. You move a certain amount on PayPal, Zelle, Cash App, etc., tax. So a third of your time, energy, and money, you're actually working for the government. So the question is, how did we get here? Well, since 1913, when they ratified the 16th Amendment, they made taxes legal because before that, the U.S. Supreme Court actually deemed taxes unconstitutional and illegal, which is the same year, 1913, the Federal Reserve was created. And if you guys didn't know, the Federal Reserve is a bank owned by other banks. Surprise! You guys, I would just like to know, for the 8th straight year, how does the Pentagon fail an audit spending taxpayers' money and we're missing about $50 billion, but there's no recourse? But if you do it, you have penalty fees and even risk jail time. Make sure you guys hit up my YouTube, The Maverick Approach, and let me know what you guys think about all this down below.
You in the U.S. should stop paying taxes as a protest.
They create chaos, and they create control.
Over the world headquarters in Switzerland of the World Masonic Headquarters for World Freemasonry, over the door is Ordo ab Chaos, which is Latin for order out of chaos. And all Freemasons know that term, Ordo ab Chaos. Order out of chaos. The concept is to create chaos, to create the problems. Then while the people are frightened to death of all the crime and everything that seems to be out of control, a riotous situation, the government then moves in with justification. In order to put down this terrible chaos, they must have full power of the military, full obedience of the people to give the government full power to do whatever they want. That's why we're having all over the world wars, riots, bloodshed, famines, all kinds of things happening around the world. It's being manipulated. It's being orchestrated, not just for Los Angeles.
Conflict control.
Conflict control.
There's been more wars since the creation of the United Nations.
Pope Boniface VIII was a sorcerer, pedophile, and mass murderer who was also the Pope of Rome from 1294 to 1303. Pope Boniface VIII was born Benedetto Santani around 1235 in Italy. Before becoming Pope himself, Benedetto was a highly influential canon lawyer and cardinal who served as an advisor, diplomat, and legate for several popes, including Pope Martin, Pope Nicholas, and Pope Celestine. By 1294, Benedetto Santani convinced the reigning Pope Celestine that the papacy was a distraction from his ascetic struggle for salvation. Under the advice of his canon lawyer Benedetto, Pope Celestine resigned as Pope on December 13, 1294, and just 11 days later, Benedetto himself would conveniently take Celestine's throne, becoming the Pope of Rome and taking the name Pope Boniface VIII. After Celestine resigned and Benedetto became Pope, Pope Boniface captured Celestine and imprisoned him. Celestine would die shortly later while in Boniface's custody. Many royals and churchmen alike began to speculate that Celestine was murdered while imprisoned by Pope Boniface. On top of being accused of murdering his predecessors, Pope Boniface was also infamous for declaring that every human creature must be subject to the Roman Catholic Church and the Pope. After this blatant heresy, his own cardinals started to accuse Boniface of being illegitimately elected, and this infuriated Pope Boniface. In retaliation, Pope Boniface went to physical war with members of his own church and leveled their cities to the ground, even after they surrendered. After massacring the entire population in the Italian town of Palestrina, Pope Boniface VIII retired to his quarters where he raped an innocent child and her mother. Pope Boniface even infamously declared that having sex with young boys was no more a sin than rubbing one hand against the other. This gained Boniface, the Unholy Father, a reputation as a shameless pedophile. Just a few years before the Knights Templar were accused of worshipping Baphomet in 1307, At a council in June of 1303, Pope Boniface was found guilty of heresy, blasphemy, simony, gross and unnatural immorality, magic, and even murder. Monasteries, cathedrals, and cities across Europe even signed a document condemning the Pope. Due to his aggressive and often ruthless tactics, Pope Boniface VIII was even placed in the 8th circle of hell in Dante's Inferno. While the Catholic Church has been controlled by pedophiles and sorcerers like Pope Boniface, while claiming they are infallible, Psalm chapter 36 and in verse 1 says, "The transgression of the wicked saith within my heart that there is no fear of God before his eyes." Jude chapter 1 and verse 4 says, "For there are certain men crept in unawares, who were before of old ordained to this condemnation, ungodly men turning the grace of our God into lasciviousness, and denying the only Lord God and our Lord Jesus Christ."
It's an old video, and that is a massive python snake.
The Black Jesus story was probably one of the most shocking things I ever heard. It came from my insider, Jacob, I call him that in the book, who actually was working for the Rothschilds and still does, and also is a whistleblower who doesn't really do what they want but continues to work for them because he feels like there's some very serious extraterrestrial threats to Earth and that what they're doing is very necessary to protect us. So the story goes that in the 1960s there was a black man in Africa who came in with abilities complementary to those of Jesus. And he was performing miracles. He was starting to get people to listen to what he had to say. And the cabal tried to kill him, and, you know, they could shoot him in the head and his skull would just regenerate and the flesh would grow back, and he was fine. And, you know, so the crazy story that I heard, which, and remember, I was told at the time that if I disclosed this, that I would be killed, and I ended up putting it in the book anyway. But the story was that this guy, you know, they finally said, okay, we're going to bring you to the United Nations and share your message with the world. Let's get you on this flight. They bring him on this flight, and instead of bringing him to the United Nations, they shot him repeatedly, and then actually had some kind of meat grinder device, and basically like a bandsaw, I guess, and sawed up his body into a whole bunch of pieces, put him in these very like radioactive shielded containers, and then had all these fighter jets dock with the plane and fly his body parts to all corners of the world, where then these containers turned them into ash. And they thought that maybe this would defeat him, like that his body somehow, the tissue was necessary. So if they destroyed all the tissue in all these places across the world, maybe they could defeat him. Well, he then regenerated in their offices and was fully fine, fully intact. But the sad part is that he said, you know, you guys so badly do not want me to be here that I am not going to be able to do any more. You're going to get what you want, but bear in mind that in the future, many others like me will be coming, and when they do, you will not be able to stop us.
Wow. Wow. Well,
that is all I know. Unfortunately,
right.
There's nothing more to the story than that. I don't,
incredible. Just,
but it is an incredible story.
Incredible.
You know, I don't care if Jesus was black, white, brown, or purple. Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior.
What the hell are you doing, dude? You're going to lose.
Do you really want to see why this actually happened to David Wilcock? I'm about to show you his video in tears. Remember in my first video, I told you guys he was on the verge of discovering something big. Not just that, he knew things that were big. I'll explain it as we go.
God. This is true, folks. You need to stop this shit. Some things I don't mind talking about. I don't like talking about this. What the hell are you doing, dude? You're going to lose. You're not going to win. It's inevitable. We already know because the future timeline is fixed. This particular timeline that we're on leads to your defeat. There is no getting around that. You are not being in integrity, but you don't care. But if you don't do this,
We are screwed, man. You think this is all natural? You think nobody's coordinating any of this stuff? You think I want to talk about this? You think I want to be up here on the camera talking about this?
So what exactly is he talking about? I'll tell you. He has ins with a bunch of intelligent assets and companies, and he knows, based on Project Looking Glass, that the future had 2 routes and we avoided 1 route in 2012. It's very real. It's like the chronovisor in the Vatican that can show things that happened in the past. Yes, that's real too. It gets even crazier. Just hold on. He's wrong about one part and it hurts my heart. And that is that we will win in the end, not physically, not in the flesh, but spiritually, that Jesus already won. But not believing in Jesus, what he sees is the destruction of humanity, right. Therefore he thinks it's the end. He knows the contract the government has with these benevolent beings of spiritual wickedness in high places. That, and what I just told you, is why. Did you know that David Wilcock is what the intelligence assets called a person of interest? What if I told you they were putting him under hypnosis the entire time he was a child? It's so easy for us to say, this person's evil, they're controlled, this and that. Not understanding they're in a very delicate, very adverse situation where they have these extremely benevolent societies that are controlling their actions, even as children.
Why was I waking up under hypnosis? Why was I walking out the door of my house in the middle of the night, hundreds of times as a child, and I couldn't remember where I was going? And at the end of the thing, they just make me walk back to where I was. And then the memory is lost. And I don't remember what happened, but now I do. Now I do.
David Wilcock was a targeted person. He was tormented since his youth. He was recruited, started seeing a truth that whatever he was working for is benevolent. The whole story will be on YT.
An old movie from the 70s about a post-apocalyptic world. This is what the landscape looks like. For the entire movie, this guy's walking around with his dog, right? There's more to it than that, but you'll have to go watch my decode on it. The landscape, this is the surface world. But all throughout this movie, there are scavengers that are digging into the surface, and they go down into houses and malls. And as a matter of fact, you'll see this all the time in different movies. Maze Runner had featured this, where there's all this sand and there's all this soil and stuff, and people dig holes and they open up into houses and malls and stuff. I think they even show you that also in The Day After Tomorrow, right? So what's going on, right? Was there just an abundance of mud caking the earth? Like, did it rain mud, or what's the deal? Where is all this soil coming from? Because people excavate today and they go down 50, 60 feet and find houses under the earth. What's going on? Where's this abundance of soil and mud? Obviously, it must have started as mud, unless just soil rained down onto the earth somehow. Here you can see in The Boy After Tomorrow, a boy and his dog. That's the top of an electric pole, which means it keeps going, right?
I don't have a whole lot of time. Former employee. I was let go on a medical discharge about a week ago, and I've kind of been running across the country. Oh man, I don't know where to start. They'll triangulate on this position really, really soon.
So you can't spend a lot of time on the phone. So give us something quick.
Okay. Okay. What we're thinking of as aliens are they're extra-dimensional beings that an earlier precursor of the space program made contact with. They are not what they claim to be. They have infiltrated a lot of aspects of the military establishment, particularly the Area 51. The disasters that are coming, the military, the government knows about them, and there's a lot of safe areas in this world that they could begin moving the population to now, Art. They want the major population centers wiped out so that the few that are left will be more easily controllable.
Well, the government knows all, and secretly.
I don't have a whole lot of time. Former employee.
Beautiful David Wilcox is dead.
One, he was the leading forefront in the disclosure, the last chance to register. He had planned multi-hour podcasts, YouTubes going on Sundays. He had multiple events lined up. Yes, there was things going on in his personal life. Yes, there was attacks coming from multiple fronts. Was this a personal attack against Ascension? Yes, he has been the leading forefront in what Ascension is and what it means for people to actually wake up and what it means to actually discover the truth. Evil forces have tried to make us give up and what's happening because his research is deep. His computers probably have more things than we could even discover in the next 10 years just looking on, and stuff that they're so like vague about what's actually happening. And that social media, it has a play in what's happening. So if social media actually has a play in what's happening, can you just play and say in the comments that I love David Wilcox and that I love his message, because there's too many of us out here right now that are actually sharing the message that aliens are real, connections to artifacts that are actually in the ground, and that there is something that is greater. That I have tried to reach out to him and tell him about the artifacts and what's actually happening, and then it didn't happen. And that you can do just to push the buttons or anything else to share that we will keep going, and that yes, this is now life or death.
Y'all, this video from Coachella gave me such bad vibes. It literally put my stomach in knots. It's one of those that give you instant goosebumps. Now watch this performer's face right here. I think this is Sway Lee. He was performing when the light hit his face weird, and his face turns into something else. And I guess the cameraman noticed it and immediately changed cameras. But right here, it almost looks like a zombie's face. Look at that.
Yep.
Y'all cannot tell me that that's just lighting. That is not just lighting. He literally looks like a demon. I mean, this has happened before with Beyonce and stuff too, but this one, man, you cannot play that off. It looks like his skin is falling off in this video. And as soon as the camera crew sees it, they switch cameras. I mean, look at that shit. There is nothing you can say that can convince me that that is just a camera glitch. Especially since the cameraman switched cameras as soon as this happened. I'm wondering if anybody in the crowd's seen it. What do you think?
Why are celebrities starting to look like this, though? I think they are feeling the subconscious urge to mimic another life form. Celebrities have been used as oracles to tell the future for centuries. Ancient cultures worshipped oracles and channelers as intermediaries between the divine, like the Oracle of Delphi, or priestesses in Igbo culture. These oracles would enter a trance to translate messages from God or the divine, and they would influence decisions on a wide range of matters. A lot of these celebrities are false. Who do you know who actually enjoys watching the Kardashians? No one watches that show. Like stuffing put into a Build-A-Bear, the Kardashians were put into our minds. Oracles of the past were chosen by priests for their purity and commitment to faith. They were often virgins, unlike celebrities of today, who are forced into the collective hive mind and initiated through humiliation sex rituals. The oracles of Delphi would sit on a bronze tripod. This bronze tripod was known as a bridge between two worlds, the world of the human world and the world of the Greek gods. People in the industry understand that filming is a ritual. There is nothing non-religious about it. This is why I would assume that so many celebrities dress up as ancient mythological figures. These ancient mythological figures were oracle-like. In this case, the image of the celebrity is saying, a new species will soon walk among us, and this new species will be half human, half machine. It will have no fat on its face. Machines don't have fat. Machines are pointy and mechanical looking, scary, but alluring. They actually resemble a sort of skeletal figure, because that's what a robot is, honey. It's a metallic skeletal frame. Their looks are not just looks, but messages to be deciphered. To me, it looks like a hybrid between artificial intelligence and alien life. I want to know your thoughts, little honey butter. Have a beautiful day.
God said the light will expose what's behind the dark. By the way, I love her content.
Have you been down the lead paint rabbit hole? Because it may have been banned for a completely different reason than many think.
Did they really ban lead paint because it was toxic? Or because it blocked their signals? Think about it. For decades, every home was coated in lead paint. Thick, durable, insulating. Then suddenly, governments worldwide decided it was dangerous. But here's what they don't tell you. Lead is a natural shield against radiation and electromagnetic frequencies. In other words, radio waves can't penetrate it. Before the ban, your walls literally acted like armor. No TV signals, no radio frequencies, no wireless anything could pass through. And then, right as wireless communication exploded, radio, television, early radar, the health panic began. Convenient timing, right? They told us it was about safety, but the studies linking lead paint to poisoning? Most came from industrial smelting, not house paint. The numbers never added up. But what did add up was control. Because once the lead came off the walls, the signals went in. Every home became a receiver. Every person became a node in a connected network. Was lead paint banned to protect you or to make sure they could finally reach inside your home?
Okay, so the crazy part about this, by the way, is we had Xfinity, a Wi-Fi company, has a new feature called Wi-Fi Motion. And they can use, if your Wi-Fi is on in your home, you can use it as a motion detecting device to know if someone's in your home when they're not supposed to be, or just detect motion in general. And we know that we're using the one side of the internet or of a Wi-Fi signal, but there's another side to it. There's another door, you could say. We're using the front door. There's a back door to it. And I'm talking the same way with frequencies from cell towers as well. We're talking about a sophisticated surveillance system that is wireless, that can see everything that's going on. Now, what would happen, do you think, if they were spraying on us in the sky nano sensors that interacted with the frequencies? Picture a hologram, a desk. You got a big desk, and it's a hologram of a real-time battle. Think of Star Wars when they're watching the battlefield on a hologram, seeing it in real time. Let's just say that was based on something that you can do if you have a bajillion sensors and frequencies blanketing the area. It's surveillance, dude. Nobody ate a freaking paint chip. That was a scam. Let me know your thoughts below and follow for more.
The world is going to end in 2027. There is this mysterious book uncovered in the Vatican archives that accurately predicted each pope since the year 1143. However, that is not all that it predicted. Well, you see, the strange thing is that it says there will be one more pope after our current pope, and then it will be Judgment Day.
Oof.
It may sound like a creepy coincidence to you, but in St. Paul's Basilica, bordering the whole sanctuary is a set number of markers that are meant to house the photo of each pope. The crazy thing is that the saying is once the markers are all filled up, Judgment Day will ensue. Interestingly enough, it said that it took 422 years to go from the first to the halfway mark, and considering that the middle pope was in the year 1585, it will make the end of the word in 2027. It doesn't just stop there either, because Pope John the 23rd had always said that the world was going to end 2,000 years after Jesus Christ's death. And if we do the math, coincidentally, we will end up in 2027 too. So,
man, bring it. Let's go. I'm sick of this world.
Check it out, family. 2026. I told y'all the veil is gone. These creatures popping out and showing niggas. Y'all think this a rare genetic mutation? Man, these people are either Nephilim descent or creatures or something we don't know about. But we seeing it with our own eyes, and y'all can't tell me this shit ain't shocking. Because this man here is a real heavy stepper. And when he grabbed that boot, shit took me out. But y'all let me know what y'all think and feel in the comments on Phone Grave. Shit is crazy.
I think it's a medical condition. I know some people that has same medical conditions. You know, their feet be like this.
Have y'all seen where they said they found Jesus Christ's body in a hidden chamber in the Great Pyramid of Giza? So they said they found his body in the secret chamber. They used a special type of camera to locate it. Here's the x-ray of it. And it's right beneath this cavern right here under the Great Pyramid of Giza. Now, I don't know if they have plans to exhume this body. They believe that the Ark of the Covenant is also within this chamber as well. Now, what's horrifying about all of this is in the Bible, it says specifically to avoid false prophets claiming that he has secretly returned and been found in the desert or in secret chambers, which is actually insane because that's exactly what they're claiming this is the body of Christ hidden in a secret chamber in the desert. All this biblical stuff just keeps popping up here recently, and it's honestly pretty terrifying. What do you guys think about this? Do you think that this is the body of Jesus somehow hidden under the Great Pyramids of Giza? Because we don't know what they're there for.
They warned us about these lies in the Bible. Come on, man.
Tupac was the biggest psyop of all time. Tough gangster.
He was tough gangster? Tupac?
East Coast, West Coast. I'm gonna kill you. Don't ride through Long Beach.
The guy was 160 pounds.
Of course. I know, but he has guns. That's the only thing. But you'll see his first interview. He's guns, not these guns. But the first interview, you'll see, hi, my name is Tupac Shakur, and I live in Baltimore, and my mom and I,
let's go with that.
You want to see it?
Yeah.
Tupac.
Like he became a gangster?
So, you know, gay guys, they have this thing with their hand, you know, like it bends in here.
Yes.
Like us straight guys, we don't have that shit, man.
What do you mean?
Yeah, like they're like this, like watch.
Oh, you're a homophobe as well.
No.
Anti-Semite, homophobe.
I hate Jews. Yeah, bigot.
Bigot?
I hate
Sexist?
Sexist. F women. I hate them.
Bro, he is gay.
Watch. Oh, you haven't seen anything yet?
No.
Watch.
My name is Tupac Shakur, and I attend Tampa High School.
Pause for a second. So, while you're watching this, you have to remember, Apollo, he will...
Man, you have to watch the whole clip, the whole video.
You up if you drive through Compton.
It's not true.
This is the gangster rapper that kills people. Watch.
Like 17 is such a weird age. It's like the end of the middle age. You're not 18 yet, and you're older than...
Are you zoomed in?
Maybe he kills with his kindness.
I like that. I like that one. I'm going to kill you with my kindness.
Most people are probably going to dismiss this as insignificant or not a big deal, but let me know what you think. So this is Vatican City. You see that nice obelisk there? Well, the city of London and Washington, D.C. also have obelisks. And despite Vatican City being surrounded by Italy, it is not actually a part of Italy. Has its own government, its own police force, and the same goes for Washington, D.C. It's not actually a part of the U.S. It's its own territory. It has its own police force, its own government. Look, the city of London, which is in the middle of London, you'd think it's a part of London, but it's actually its own city-state with its own government and its own police force. Although the city of London falls under the jurisdiction of Greater London and the GLA, it has its own special status, its own government, its own mayor, and its own independent police force. So there is some spiritual significance to this. The city of London being the financial center, the Vatican City being the religious center, and Washington, D.C. being the military center of the world. The other crazy thing is we know the Vatican Archives is miles and miles of library underground in the Vatican, ancient books and things. Well, this is where the Pope speaks inside of this big hall, it's called. And that's a very interesting looking design behind him. But this is more interesting. Well, that building he was in, just pictured, looks like the side of a snake. The inside, like he stands back there and talks. And that looks pretty reptile-like. Because of the odds of making this look like that by accident are very slim, we got to ask ourselves why they did it.
All connected, man.